Welcome back. A new book is highlighting the incredible story of a legendary nightclub that changed American music as we know it. The Stone Pony in Asbury Park, New Jersey, there it is one of the nation's most famous music venues, and it's celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. New Jersey native Bruce Springsteen, of course, helped make the rock and roll watering hole famous, first appearing there early in his music career 5 decades ago. And he's continued to show up for several surprise performances in the years since. The boss's incredible relationship with the Stone Pony is detailed in the new book, which bears the title, I Don't Want to Go Home, The Oral History of the Stone Pony, which also includes interviews with other legendary musicians, DJs, local officials, employees at the club, and even a few governors. And the book's author, Nick Corazzini, joins us now. He's also a national political reporter for the New York Times. And full disclosure, he and I are members of a reporters text chain that dates from 2016. And if its contents were ever leaked, it would be disastrous for all involved. So let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the book. You are proud New Jersey and yourself. Talk to us about the origins of this book and what the Stone Pony means for so many people.
So I wanted to write this book because I grew up going to the Stone Pony in the late 90s when Asbury was a different town. It was struggling. It had bottomed out. And, you know, I was going to Warped Tours and punk shows, and everything around it was just a wasteland. And my job and everything else on the campaign trail took me away for a long time. And when I came back in 2017, it was a new town. Like, there had been a rotting structure, and that was now this gleaming hotel with luxury apartments. Yet the only thing that was still there was the Stone Pony. For 50 years, that's been the kind of lone constant. So I wanted to tell this story that's like familiar across America, you know, small towns, small cities that really fell apart in the 80s and 90s. And there's so many of them, but so few have come back. And Asbury is one of those. So to tell that story, I wanted to go to the one continuous thread, and that was the Stone Pony. It's a town that, you know, there's shirts that say music saved Asbury Park. There's shirts that say Bruce might show up. And those are town mottos and energy that drives this town. And so, you know, for a long time when it was on life support or when it's thriving, the Stone Pony has been Asbury Park's beating heart.
So tell us a little more about the most famous relationship of all, which is, of course, Bruce Springsteen with this bar, that is still, it's part of his life even today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Bruce Might Show Up is a very real thing. Even if you're seeing like a band that you'd never expect Bruce to come by, like Social Distortion, he still shows up and plays with them. It started in a kind of different way than I think some people might experience. Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes became the house band at the Pony, and Stevie Van Zandt was playing with them. Now, Stevie, Southside, and Bruce all grew up together on the Jersey Shore. They were best friends from the years of the Upstage in the late 60s. And so when the Jukes start playing at the Stone Pony regularly, and they're playing different music. They're not doing top 40 stuff. They're doing blues, R&B, their own music, stuff that Bruce loves. He was like, well, my friends are here. Why don't I go down and see what they're about? And he brought no guitar. He was just going to hang out at the bar. And then, because this is what they do, he would just get up and play with his friends. And that started this long tradition of Bruce just being there, seeing his friends, seeing music he thought was interesting, sustaining a local scene, and then just feeling compelled as he does to play. And it would take him through the 80s when he was there every Sunday night in 1982 in the summer, playing with Cats on a Smooth Surface. It was never billed. He's never paid. He doesn't bring his own guitar or anything. And he always asks the band or whoever, hey, can I come play with you? And there's different artists who I talk to who were like, I get a tap on the shoulder and he'd be like, hi, I'm Bruce. And they'd be like, I know.
Yes, you can play here. Stevie Van Zandt was here yesterday. Certainly has such fond memories of it. Let's bring into the conversation someone else who has a lot of fond memories of the Stone Pony, a regular, Jen Palmieri.
Oh my gosh, am I just beaming right now? This is why I got up at 4 in the morning in California, so I could talk to Nick about my all-time favorite topic, the Mecca, Stone Pony. Nick, it's like Nick and I have spent many hours obsessing over the Stone Pony, but you know, there's something that you write about, sort of the mythology that is the pony, but I want you to talk about what went into making that mythology, right? It's not just Bruce, it's what that represents, the opportunity that he might show up, that there's a mix of community bands and super famous people, but the Pony is some like egalitarian place where people all come together and just create this magic. And it is, I mean, if people have not been there, it is a mystical place. But what do you think that, after obsessing about it for years, as I know you've had, that mythology is really about?
I think it's about just kind of what you were talking about. It's that egalitarian nature and the way that Asbury Park has been up and down and through so much. You come together as a community and as a scene. And when there's something that's held it in place for so long, that means a lot to a lot of people. And I think, you know, in the book, Tom Morello calls them the good ghosts. And I think that they're so alive in the Stone Pony. It's every artist who's come through there. It's Bruce and it's Southside. It's also Bon Jovi. It's also Zakk Wylde, who said he learned to play guitar to the level that he did, not at Berkeley like his friends, but at the Stone Pony. It's the Jonas Brothers, who before they were signed to Disney and becoming one of the biggest bands in music history, had a gig early at the Stone Pony, and they were running around the boardwalk trying to get people to come to their show. There's so many people and places that have come into the Stone Pony, and you never know what's going to happen. It's got that spontaneity, that unpredictability. Someone might show up, someone who's in the crowd might hop on stage. Sure, it could be Bruce, it could be Stevie Van Zandt, it could be Brian Fallon from the Gaslight Anthem. You know, you never really know what's going to happen, and I think that unpredictability is addictive. It's what keeps me coming all the time, the thought that I could be there, I could be seeing any band, and something unexpected could happen. It's that life-giving nature of live music just amped up a little bit more at a place like the Stone Pony when you have the history that it does.
Or as we were there one night, Brandon Flowers from the Killers may come on stage and sing The Promised Land. How do you, I think people may not understand that, you know, people may know Asbury Park had a big music history, then it had riots. They may have thought that the Pony predates the riots, but the truth is the Pony came back as part of the rebirth in the early 70s after Asbury had these terrible riots. How did it last all 50 years, right? Explain when it came back and how it lasted this long.
Sure. I mean, it has been on life support twice, and you know, we'll get into that. But the way the Pony opened was in 1970. Asbury Park was torn apart by race riots on the west side. It had been a long segregated town, and in many ways still is. And the black population on the west side of town was frustrated with the lack of economic opportunity, especially along the boardwalk. And it led to riots, as it did across the country at that time, you know, also in nearby Newark. And so that kind of created a flight out of Asbury Park, which was once this booming resort. But as Stevie Van Zandt says in the book, it left the town to these mystics, rockers, rogues, and renegades. And they created this art scene, this music scene in Asbury Park. And so when the Stone Pony opens in 1974, you know, and it was trying to figure out what it was it a disco club? Would it be a rock club? Would it be a top 40 club? Those guys made it something different. They walked in and they said, give us your worst night. We'll take the bar. We'll take the door. You take the bar, which is a great deal for bar owners. But we're going to play what we want. And so that started this moving. And, you know, as the town dragged down, the Pony still did okay. But eventually the town dragged it down too far. And in 1991, it closed. Yet it opened within 6 months again because people knew this was too important. This had to go on. And it became the home of alternative rock and punk and jam. And then when it closed again in 98, dragged down by more, you know, struggles in Asbury Park, it was shuttered for a while and people weren't sure it was going to reopen. And then a man named Dominic Santana from Jersey City, another bar owner, came and he saw tourists coming and taking pictures of the Pony. These were Bruce Springsteen tourists. This was when it was closed and graffitied. And he knew this thing still had some magic and we can open it. And by opening that, it started what would eventually become the Renaissance that we see today.
Yeah, thriving now. We should note that Bruce Springsteen wrote the foreword to this book, and he described the impact the Stone Pony had on him. He wrote this: staying local all through the crazy high times was the smartest thing I ever did. The Stone Pony and its patrons allowed me to continue to be one of them, and for that, I'm forever thankful. At 74, I don't get down to the Pony as much as I used to, but I'm still glad it's there. Long may she run. The new book is titled I Don't Want to Go Home, The Oral History of the Stone Pony. It's on sale now. Get a copy. New York Times national political reporter Nick Corazzaniti, thank you so much. Congrats on the book, my friend.